graphics. It's gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun. So, I am going to start with the Sorceress. I will go over to the Amazon and we'll do the Barbarian last. Simply because the Barbarian has the least skills to show. Just because of his masteries, which we basically cannot see. But I have a little bit of a special treat on the Barbarian pledge. We are going to have almost every skill that is available as charged skill. So an item that has warmth as a, like just as an example, lightning as a charged skill, we will use on the Barbarian. That would be including Teeth, Sacrifice, Firestorm, and all those good things that we're not seeing on the various characters. I couldn't find a Zeal Scepter, unfortunately, so that's gonna be potentially like a thing that I have to bring in at some points. But that's gonna be the special treatment, right? To start off, we are going to start with the... What do you guys want to see first? Lightning, fire, or cold? Cold. Cold. I see a lot of colds. Cold, lightning, fire. So just in this order. Alright. So we're going top to bottom, left to right, left to right. Let's do left to right. That way we get the important ones out of the way right away. Alright. First coil on the list is going to be Frost Nova. Just in comparison, the vanilla version. Also zoom in, which is really cool. And it looks beautiful. In my mind, it looks beautiful. Next up is going to be the Blizzard, because that is on our skill tree, the next one. The sound of vanilla is better, I think so too. But the graphics on Frost Nova is just glorious. Right, for the Blizzard. And in comparison, actually, zoom in first. I think it looks really cool, but I think it could do with some beefiness, because when you look at the vanilla version, this is a lot beefier. You had to do this in order to like give some detail to the skill. But I think that just gets lost in this. Also, the Blizzard in Resurrected has a little bit of a weird sound when it hits targets. I will make some footage a little bit later to like make you hear that as well. It does not. It's basic as if something is hitting a blunt object hitting something. It's a little bit weird. Right. Next up, we have the Frozen Orb, which some people do not like as much. I personally like it a lot. What people don't like is the spikes that are coming out of this ball. But I have heard and seen complaints. Just in comparison, You can see these spikes on this one as well if you like really looking closely and like pause it. Right, there's like small spikes here and there, but it's not as pronounced as on the Resurrected version. So that was the first row of cold skills. Let's go over to the middle row, which is going to be Ice Bolt first. Just nothing spectacular. I think it's fine as it is. Don't really need to talk too much about this, I think. It's very, very similar. Just sounds a tiny bit different. So, yeah. I have no objections against this. It looks pretty decent, honestly. Basically the same, just cleaner. Yeah, that's a good summary. Next up we have Ice Blast. This one, pretty much the same thing as before on the Ice Bolt. I think it looks just a cleaner version because of more detail compared to this version. This looks more like a comet, like a small comet or something. But I think like both of them do that job pretty well. And last but not least, Glacial Spike. This one I'm not a huge fan of, because the explosion is much more visible on vanilla. It's just like you have this huge explosion and then you compare it to this, but just like it feels like it has less impact. I think that's how to say this properly. It's just like it feels like you're having no impact, and then this like you know when you pour some liquid nitrogen or what it is, and it just like smokes everywhere. That's what that is, like dried ice. And I think I'm personally not a huge fan of this. I like this a little bit more because it's like seems to have more impact, but that is okay. Right. Now for the Frost Armors. We have 3 of them. On the character itself, they all look pretty much the same. Apart from the Shivering Armor, obviously, that has these like sparkles. I'm just gonna showcase this just in comparison. Initially, I wasn't so fond of it. It's growing on me, to be honest. Like, it spins in the other direction. That's probably one of the like, it feels like it's spinning in the other direction, but it doesn't. And it spirals, like, a lot more pronounced. Like, this is basically, I have this one bulk of frozen around you that is, like, spinning upwards. And here you have basically sort of, like, multiple lines that are just spiraling around you. Right. Before I finish with this one, I want to showcase what happens when monsters attack you. Let's see if we can get our ranged friends over here to attack us. Our Shiver Armor is going to kill monsters, obviously, or hit monsters with damage when they are hitting you. These guys just don't want to attack me. Alright. I think that's as good as you can make it, honestly. There's different effects for all the 3 armors. I'm just gonna go through them real quick. So that was Shiver Armor. Now we have Frozen Armor, which I'm gonna showcase here. It has a little bit of a different effect on top of him. When he hits me, when he finally hits me. Okay, this is the problem when you have a level 30 character in the level 1 area. Alright, let me quickly go. For this, I have to go to a different act real quick. So what happens is when you get hit by a monster, you are... the monster will have like a little bit of a red background on the frozen armor. Let's see if we can find something here. If you look really closely, there's a little bit of a like red-ish animation that's coming off for monsters that get hit by the frozen armor. That is something obviously that does not exist. They just get frozen in the vanilla version. Right. And we also have the chilling armor. Let me quickly heal up here. So we don't die from tanking this as well. It's less visible on... yeah, it's less visible on sand. You know what? Let me do this again in one of the caves. Where they have a chance to hit me, of course. Let's see these guys. Oh, come on. Stop being leashed. But when it's darker, you can definitely see this more visually. Oh my goodness, that hurts. Wait. Now, for the chilling armor. Well, this one is actually not happening. Which is interesting. Or they're just not hitting me. For some reason. No, and this one doesn't seem to be happening. Oh, we're dying. Wait. Plus only to ranged. Alright, yeah, you're right. Let's see if we can find some ranged monsters in. Where can we find some ranged monsters, guys? I never use this. I use this only for melee characters, so. Short skill tree. My skill tree is just all skills. We don't have ranged monsters here. Where do we have ranged monsters that could trigger it properly? I guess we can try to find something in tower here. Interesting, there's like a sparkling animation over here. Look closely. There's a little bit of a sparkling animation here, which you don't get obviously in vanilla. Right, let me restart the game real quick to showcase the next set of skill trees. Just going to be the lightning skill tree.
Good day.
Kinda like teal. Well, all the cults or chill effects have a little bit of a teal thing going on. But the armors look really clean in my opinion as well. Alright, let's get rid of these guys real quick. Alright. So, next up are going to be the lightning shields. We're going to start with static field. It's a really low range right now. And also looks not very spectacular. Especially the sound, like...
Two. I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be 3 or 4 letter R's in the word comparison.
Please don't do that, Evo. Wait, I think the sound of the vanilla static is just so much better. But all the lightning skills, you will see this throughout the whole thing, are less beefy looking. Overall, I think it's growing slowly on me, but I'm not a massive fan of all the lightning effects. On most of them anyways. And they all have a little bit of a bluish addition, that's for sure, yes. Okay, so next up, Nova. This one I really like, honestly. It looks really cool how there's like these lines going away from you. I honestly want them to make Nova viable so I can play with this amazing animation. You just have like no sound on that one. We are in the middle of comparing all the skills, old and new. Alright. Going over to Thunderstorm. For this one, I will once again have to like travel a little bit to hit monsters. The aura itself, I mean, just looking at it, I think this is a little bit more. Oh, I like this a little bit more. The circle in the middle, you can barely make that out as a circle. But, I mean, it's not horrible. Now, let's get some flashbangs. So if you're playing really high gamma, this is gonna flashbang you quite a bit. Ugh, blinding light. But the thunder sound obviously is amazing. And just in comparison, when you are looking at this, this is a lot less of a flashbang. So, yeah, I'm not sure, like, for the people that want to put 1 point in there, that's obviously still an option. Alright, let's go over to the middle tree, which is the... Damn, this thunderstorm sound. It's really good stuff. Wait, so charged bolt. Again, one of these skills where I feel like the white, just like straight up white, carries more of the weight. And it looks a lot less beefy. I'm not sure how to like really describe it. I think the old one is definitely better than this. Especially, I'm not sure, like I would have to respec one more time or like level another character to see how a maxed out charge bolt looks like. I'm not sure if I have the time to do so. You want a GPU kill? The thing that kills the GPU or CPUs maybe is all the reflections with lighting, but you will have that in a lot of skills. Right, next up we have lightning. And here comes the real, the part where I really don't like it. So this is like really bulky and you have like this big lightning and stuff happening. And then like, it's not horrible. If I hadn't played vanilla Diablo 2 before, I would say like this is fine. But I'm not a massive fan of this one. And the same thing obviously goes for chain lightning as well. I'm gonna find some monsters to showcase how it looks when you're chaining something. Hopefully we find something. Alright, come over here. So I think honestly like the chaining looks good. It's just the initial projectile that I don't like. Like it fits really well if you're chaining actually. Just in comparison to this. Oops. Nope, that was not the comparison I wanted to do. Let's find some other monsters. Oh my god, Tail, please. Yeah, it's just like I like the chaining effect of it. I'm not a huge fan of the initial strike. That was a funny looking. Yep, it was. Alright, next up. Going to have the right side of the tree. For that, I will quickly go somewhere else. We're going to use telekinesis in the Arcane Sanctuary. Just because that has a little bit of a even sparklier effect. Right, so this is your normal telekinesis. Zooming in. I think it's alright. Looks good. Just in comparison, like, this is a bit of a more engulfing way of doing it. But the reason why we are here is this. Look at how the lightning is going to travel here. Let's get rid of these guys. Quick. You basically see how it's snapping here, which I find really cool. Basically, it like tries to figure out that you're on a different spot all of a sudden, and then like has this massive lightning. This looks really cool. I will showcase all characters. Open that chest with it. Close the chest door. Whoops. Is for casting TP with telekinesis? No, I will do swap casting in a different video. Alright, so next up, teleport. We already covered it a little bit. I think it's alright. There's nothing spectacular, nothing terrible. The only argument that I could see happening here is like, with a staff in your hand, or like in general. It looks a bit weird how she's like looks when she's teleporting in a certain direction. Doesn't look as fast as in vanilla. No, I think it's fine. That's perfectly fine. Right, and last but not least, the energy shield. has a similar animation as the telekinesis as it has in vanilla as well. Look close on the ball. You also have this like light area. I'm not sure how I feel about this part. When you go over to the vanilla version, you also have this like lightened up place. But I feel like there's still movement in here, which you don't really have here. So I'm not sure if that's intentional, but I think that like a completely rotating ball would be a lot cooler. Like almost looking like a planet. That is like rotating. A ball shading 101. Yeah, but still, it's... it makes no sense that you have like the lines go spiral in here and then nothing moves and then it spirals out again. It's looking great, don't get me wrong. It's just like I think this is a detail that could like revisit potentially. Go get hit. You guys know that at level 30 I can't get hit. Alright. And this is your animation when you get hit. This actually looks really cool. I love this. Both ways. Never really realized how this sound is in vanilla. They did increase the stash size. Stash is definitely bigger. I usually only have 7 by 10 here. 3, 6, 7, so it would be like this, and yeah, it's just like 3 rows more here. And obviously I have the shared stash as well. As far as I'm aware, there's no plans of balance changes right now. I'm not sure if they want to visit that in the future. I hope they want and will be.
Yes?
If there's multiple stash tabs, then there is no mention there at all. Let's get that TP out of the way. Right, let's get to the fire skills. And here's where the beef is. Honestly, this is where I love fire skills all over the place. Every fire skill looks amazing. Let's start from left to right once again. Starting off with Inferno, which has a really cool feature with the blue flame at the start. Right? You start with a blue flame, and the further you go away, it just like cools down. I really, really think that's cool. And you switch over, you obviously don't have that effect in vanilla with the blue fire, but that is glorious. Obviously still a useless skill, unfortunately, but it looks cool. Right, next up is Blaze. Basically the same thing as in vanilla. It feels like a little bit detached from you. when you're running around. So you can see, like, when I run like this is directly beneath my feet. And in Resurrected mode, it's a little bit lagging behind. Just a tad. I'm not sure if that's intentional, but it's just a thing that I noticed. Right, next up we have the firewall, which I think looks alright. This is not too I feel like this is not too spectacular. Obviously a lot cleaner and a little bit less beefy as well. Again, like when you're looking, you can see a lot more through the flames than you can do on vanilla, it feels like. When the flames are just a little bit smaller. Just a visual fit thing for me. Right, next up is Firebolt. Oops, that we now have a level 2 Firebolt. Similar to like Ice Bolts and Ice Blast and that kind of stuff. I think this is just nothing really crazy. It's just like the cleaned up version of the vanilla Firebolt. I think it's okay. Nothing to complain about, to be honest. Next up is going to be Fireball. This one, I feel like the projectile could be a lot beefier when you compare the two. Between like this and this. I don't know what. It might be a resolution thing, but the Fireball in vanilla looks a lot beefier. But that's it. Like, as I mentioned earlier, this is kind of a theme that goes through all of the skills, it seems, where... yeah, most skills just look a lot thinner. Yeah, you can leave that to me. Right, next up is Meteor. I'm a huge fan of this Meteor. And like, maybe the spark is a little bit over the top here. But I mean, it's happening in vanilla too, so that's perfectly fine. The best thing about like any fire skills, honestly, when you look closely, you see the ground glowing after the fire goes down, or it's like cooling down. It looks really cool and it's an extremely cool detail. That same thing happens on beneath you as well when you're using fire skills. Is it faster now? No, it's the same speed. The initial animation sounds a little bit faster, but it isn't. Yeah, but Meteor, honestly, huge fan. I love it. Hope they will make it a really usable skill. Right. Next up, I am going to get my mercenary real quick. Like, nothing is faster. It just can't be. Right, next up is Enchant. Oh, mercenary, come on. Which, I think, honestly, once again, this looks a lot beefier. And it seems like in vanilla, it just goes over your head. And in here, it just like stops below your head somewhere. I love how it looks when a target is actually moving that you cast the sun.
I need mana.
When he's moving, it's just like goes behind him. Tries to like travel with him. Kinda looks cool. Can also do this on my own character. Which I kind of like. This looks really cool. And the very, very last thing that everybody is obviously looking for is the Hydra. And the Hydra, oh my goodness. Look at this beautiful thing. Look at the detail on these. Look at the detail on those. Find ourselves some enemies to cast some hydras on them.
Not enough mana. Not enough mana.
Just to showcase the attack animation as well. In the hopes that the mercenary is just not killing everything. It looks really cool, I think. This is by far my most favorite, like my favorite in terms of reworks. It just looks gorgeous. Right, and this is concluding the Sorceress. Looking at the time, this took a lot longer than I thought on this character, so I will do separate videos on YouTube for this. Right. Let's see what we can do with the next character. Well, we can only do Amazon, Barbarian, and the Sorceress, and I will do the Amazon next. Link the thing for stash tabs. When I mean that's also alpha, right? The deep dive thing. Multiple shared